Welcome to Computability Freaks. I'm your host, Erin Carmody. You might know me as the star of the hit TV show Computability Freaks. Won't you come with me on this journey through Soare's The Art of Turing Computability, Theory and Applications. Today's episode is Turing Machines. Okay, so we should get going. So we've done a lot of history and stuff, and I like it. But at some point I'm like, we have to do something. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So, and I really do like the history. Okay, so hopefully you can see this a little bit better. Production team has really been working on their playback. Playback team's been really working. I hope you can see this. Yeah, the screen sharing on my computer, it's not really my computer, but it's not working or something. But also, I get a bit of pandemic flashbacks. Hopefully, I kind of like this setup, but if it's not working, if you can't see it, it's not worth it. But just let me know. Okay, so since last time, I had some ideas about meta-ordinal logics, computable meta-ordinals, maybe, I don't know. An oracle machine where the oracle tape is there only 86% of the time. This has probably been thought of before. Or an oracle machine where the oracle has a missing or undefined bits. Okay, so let's get back to here. So this is Soare, and this has been, so today we really will, by the end of the today, know what a Turing machine is and even have some homework. So that's good. Okay, so let's see, Soare. So let's see, how far are we on the book? We've actually, we've taken our time here getting to the definition. We're so far in the book, page 3. Yeah, I think if I was teaching this or just reading the book on my own, I would be tempted to just go right ahead. What's a Turing machine? First day. But it's kind of nice when you build up to this because it's what a Turing machine is kind of a, well, we'll see. Let's let Soare tell the story today. But we'll definitely get to that today. Okay, I feel here, let's go. So hopefully, let's get going. That's how I feel. The math meme where the first day the math teacher's we're already behind schedule. That's how I feel. I got this feeling of we gotta get going on this. Okay. So we're gonna do, today's section is 1.1, 1.2, and we actually get to 1.3 and 1.4. Couldn't stop. Once you get going, it's hard to stop. Okay, I want to write, so from section 1.1, we're going to do, there's 1.12, 1.13, 1.14. Okay, and then 2, 3, and 4. So we've already seen so much of history, but I really, it's kind of good to just keep walking. Okay, let's get on the juggler. Okay, just made that. Okay, so we're going to define computable functions using Turing machines. Okay. I hope that you can see it. Algorithmically computable functions. So, excuse me. So algorithms in math, going back to the Babylonians, Euclid's Elements, 330 to 320 BC, the greatest common divisor algorithm. We've got the sieve of Aristophanes. So let's say I'm trying to see is 7 prime. Okay, so I'll go go to 2's, and I anything that's multiple 2 of cross off, so that's not going to be prime. That's not going to be prime. I'm already above 7, so I keep going if I want. Okay, next I'm going to take away multiples of 3. Okay, 6, 9, 12. Okay, multiples of 5. 10. Okay, well, yep, so 7 is prime. Yeah, there's a little process that we went through. So the procedure as far as algorithm goes, I put the notes on here already, so hopefully this is all, let's see if it's working. So algorithmic procedure has a finite set of instructions, finite sequence of steps, and eventually halts with the answer. Okay. Soare says, without any recourse to human intelligence or random devices. Okay, so this person's on the phone and they're like, oh, I just know it's true. And they're they're about to slip on a banana, and I don't know what's going on. So this, without any of this. Okay. So again, this effectively calculable. So I guess in the 30s, it was called effectively calculable. It's funny, they use the word integral and calculo a lot. Okay. Prior to 1930, the functions were not defined formally, what effectively calculable function is. And so Hilbert called for algorithmic solutions to specific problems. So this is a little bit just history of algorithms. So we've got Hilbert's 10th problem, solutions to Diophantine equations, so polynomial equations with integer coefficients, and they're looking for integer solutions. Entjedunk's problems. I meant to look that up right before, but I didn't, so I just call it NT. A decision problem, find an algorithm to decide which first-order formulas are valid. And he mentions Leibniz had a calculating machine. Did he actually make a calculating machine? I don't know. And Leibniz is wondering, oh, can I make one for mathematical statements? Okay, so Leibniz has been thinking about this. There's something in the air. Oh, there's a dramatic blow to Hilbert's, program, I guess, or his, I don't know, it's a dramatic blow, a big change up. And Gödel in 1931, along with Rosser, the first incompleteness theorem. Any effectively axiomatizable formal system T, which includes elementary number theory, is either inconsistent or incomplete. Okay, that's a whole other class. So NT, here's the blow. NT that I really meant to. Entjedunk's problem. Entjedunk's problem. Okay. So this Entjedunk's problem might have a negative solution. So this led to Gödel trying to define computable functions. Here we go. So here's Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, The Rise and Fall. This is good source. I also liked this logo, this guy. What's he doing? He's sitting, thinking about philosophy. He's thinking about philosophy so much he's like, oh, okay. I like it. Okay. So just, I'm just going to give these just because, let's see exactly what this is. So Turing gave two formulations of what he called the Hilbert-Entjedunk's problem. Is there a general process? In a few paragraphs later, he emphasizes general mechanical process for determining whether a given formula A of the functional calculus K is provable. And is there a Turing machine which, supplied with any one A of these formula, will eventually say whether A is provable? So we're still kind of in the history section here, the obstacle of diagonalization, but we'll see. It's really important. That's this sort of evolution. Okay, we'll see with Turing's thesis. This is a very Turing's theorem, an interesting theorem in mathematics, that's for sure. So 1.12, the obstacle of diagonal and partial functions. Oh, okay, so here we go. So here's our objective. Here's Gödel. And he's trying to define effectively calculable functions. So this is the arrow going down here. So he's got to get the pen to the paper, and getting the pen to the paper, he's got to define effectively calculable functions. What that means. And then also he wants to give an effective list of such functions. Okay, so this is someone I remember sat down once and tried to make a list of, so I can't remember. Okay, so we'll start with functions on omega. Okay, so I think of a function on omega as like this. It's a omega sequence of elements of omega, or integers. Not integers, I guess, natural numbers. And so we want C. We want this, C it's the list. C is the list here. Okay, we can see that. So here's just the three things that are going to be the three things about this list that Gödel's making of these effectively calculable functions. An effective list of calculable functions. So this list, C, includes all and just the algorithmically computable functions. So all the computable functions are on the list. They're all on there, and there's nothing missing. Okay. This thing, so the list itself is computable. And so we can think of this function gnx, the value of gnx will be the value of f sub n at x. So this function g, which is listing them, you can kind of see over here, it's like g1x is f1x, f2x, and so on. So this function is also computable. The thing that's listing them is also computable. So the list is also computable. Okay, and the last thing that Gödel wanted is that this f sub n of x is total. Every f sub n of x is total. So this is an example of something that's not total. I put this like gray box here to mean there's nothing going on. So maybe it's like 2, 5, 100, 11, 12, 13, and it's just blank there. That's not total. So this is not total. So everything's total. So there's no missing pieces to these functions. They're total. Okay, well, so let's see what's the problem. What's the problem with this? Again, I'm remembering somebody that had something like this. Okay, so let me just take a moment. Okay, we've got this list. We've got this g sub n. Gnx is f sub n of x. G is keeping track of the f's, listing them, and it's computable as well. So here, just define this h. Okay, so let's just see, what do we know about h? Okay, again, this is our gnx. This is our, it's our list. This is g is like our list. Okay, so define h of x. So let's just see, what do we know about h? Is it computable? Yes. If g is computable, so let's just say this is computable, this is computable, so this is computable. Okay, let me see if I can get this part right. So this is computable, but it's not, okay, this is h of x is not equal to f sub x of x. Because g of x sub x is equal to f sub x of x, and g of x sub x plus 1 is different than that. Okay, if these functions are total. Okay, so this, what does this say? This means that the h can't be one of the f's. Because it's different than f on the xth digit. Okay, what does it remind us of? Of Cantor, of course. Okay, so somehow we've got this like computable function, but it's not on the list. Oh no. Okay, h is computable since g is computable, and it's not on the list though because it can't be any of the f's. Okay, so now Cantor already came up with this. I mean, what I mean is Cantor encountered this problem, and we have all the transcendental numbers that are uncountable. So okay, let's see what happened with this situation. It's similar, right? Okay, so here's Gödel. He is disappointed. He can't make the list. He can't. It's sometimes I don't know. It's like you run into these like, oh no, contradictions or paradoxes. Like something good will come of that. Okay, he's feeling upset though. Here's the pen. It rolled away because he dropped the pen. It rolled away. It's rolling away. So we must abandon one of these conditions. Okay, I was trying to see if colors show up. Did colors show up? Well, okay, so let's just see our conditions again. Okay, here's the first condition. So this is supposed to be like a gold here. So everything on the list is gold. It's a computable function. It's meant to be there. Also, the list is green. It's good. There's nothing that's not on the list. There's no computable function that's not on the list. Okay, that seems okay. So we have that condition we wanted. The other condition is this is a computer. He's a machine. It kind of looks like some alien, maybe hybrid, but he's eating the list because he likes it, because he can compute it and he can understand it, and he likes to eat that list. So this is indicating that these the list itself is computable. Okay, and then not only that, he's full. The computer is full because there's nothing lacking. These things are total. Okay, he's satisfied, at least somewhat satisfied. Okay. Sorry, buddy. So I guess we're going to have to say no to this guy. Sorry, bud. We can cut out that the functions are total. This is how Turing got around this. I believe that's how Turing got around. Okay, so how does it look? Sorry, that was for just trying to see if it works. So if the functions, functions aren't total, we can't argue that h of x is not equal to g of f sub x of x because it might not be defined. G of x of x might not be defined. So can't necessarily argue that anymore. Okay. So computable functions, partial computable functions are the way to go. Okay, so here's now, I kind of like this idea just in general. You know, you don't have to be always knowing everything all the time. And you can sometimes have no idea. I have no opinion on that. Okay. I can't have an opinion on that. Okay, so this is an example of a partial function from omega to omega. So I got 2 and then 3, and so I have no clue. 11, 1,000, no idea on that digit. Beats me. Yeah, there's a little bit of flexibility. That I'm sure it helps solve the problem. Or show that there is no solution to the Entendunch. So the quest for characterization, we're still kind of in the little bit of the getting there. Okay, so here's so the quest for a characterization. Okay, lectures at Princeton, 1934. Gödel proposed recursive functions. Okay, we'll hear that word: recursive, computable, interchangeable. In 1936, Church proposed that effectively calculable and recursive functions are the same idea. It's very interesting. They're trying to come up with what's the idea we all have in mind. They're combining ideas. Okay. Amazing. 1936, Gödel was not convinced, Soare says, Gödel wasn't convinced that these were the same thing, it was the same concept. But after Turing's analysis in 1936, he was 100% on board. So Turing's breakthrough. Okay, so here's Turing. He's 23 years old at Cambridge. Doesn't have any idea what's going on. Okay, so he hears about, he hasn't heard Gödel's work necessarily yet. 1935, MHA Newman lectures on this Entendunch problem, and Turing hears it. Okay, so Turing then he takes this path through 1935 and it's like working on this. And in 1936, April 15th of 1936, he submitted a paper to Newman, and it's a distinguished paper. As Soare's talking about, in that he kind of crystallized what's this idealized human computer and talking about it. And the guy's saying, "You can trust me." I think that I don't know if everyone would want to be an idealized computer. I would like to be an idealized computer if I had the chance. It's like emotions. Yeah, it's like I like the good emotions, but sometimes it just feels like a little bit too like unnecessary. Okay, I think sometimes people have strong emotions actually, and therefore they just prefer to not have any. Okay, I would like to be an idealized computer for sure. Simple formal device. Okay, so the other distinguished part of this paper is a simple formal device, a Turing machine. So he's talking about both of these concepts. And I thought there was a nice thing in here. The evolution of this like idealized idealized human computer, something like that. But I just thought that there's just a really nice like paragraph here. Okay, it's all nice. Okay. just had a thing. Okay, so page 5. Let's see if I can find this. What section are we in here? 1.14. Oh, okay. So let's see here. Okay. Turing analyzed an idealized human computing agent which brought together the intuitive concept of a function produced by a mechanical procedure which had been evolving for more than 2 millennia from Euclid to Leibniz to Babbage to Hilbert. That was number 1. And number 2, Turing specified a remarkably simple formal device, Turing machine, and informally but convincingly demonstrated the equivalence of 1 and 2. Okay. So this is so we have these two concepts that he sort of formalized, and Turing's thesis was that 1 and 2 are equivalent. The third thing that this distinguished thing in his paper was that Entscheidung's problem is unsolvable. And the fourth thing is a universal Turing machine, which can duplicate any other. Okay, and here's Gödel. And Gödel says, yes, this is it. This is it. Okay, so Gödel's happy again. All right, so 1.2, Turing defines effectively calculable. So in the 1936 paper, there's 2 parts of the paper. On the one hand, describe the informal notion of effectively calculable and give a precise definition of the Turing machine which captures it. By 1936 to 1937, there's many notions of equivalent notions of computability. Turing computable, recursive, and more. And also, I don't know if this is exactly the right time for that, but there's also, like, you can have many tapes, you can use many symbols, and it's still, like, equivalent to just a basic Turing machine. In the 1936 paper by Turing, sections 2 through 8 give the definition of the Turing machine and the universal machine. And section 9 is the definition of effectively calculable function. The essence of section 9, so they're just some bullet points from section 9, but again, this is like, we're going to go deeper into all this stuff probably. That he defined like these elementary operations. He divided the workspace into squares. Like, I think that alone is like, oh, good idea. Wow. Finitely many symbols. Finitely many states of mind. That's from Soare. He did that. Okay, I kind of thought that was like my joke, but that was Soare's joke. The action of the machine determined by present state and what's in the square. So the idea is like the machine. Okay, you can see one square at a time, and the information you're given is what's in the square and what's your state of mind. With this information, you can write something in the square. You can go into a different state of mind, and you can also move left or right. Okay. The head examines one symbol in one square. The head moves one square radius from the current square. He established all this stuff. He actually said in the book that it's like he established a radius of 1. Okay. And so this is the idea of the Turing machine, is this guy. Okay, I put it in 1s and 0s, maybe, and when we see the definition, it's going to be 1s and blanks. But, okay, so this guy is, he's observing what's in the cell. He's in a certain state of mind. Let's just put state here. Sometimes Q is often used for the state of mind, so we'll say Q. He's in a Q state of mind. And what can he do? He can write a symbol, he can move, left or right, and you can go into another state of mind. Okay, so Turing's thesis, Turing's theorem. Okay, I feel like I hear discussions about this a lot on Twitter or something. Turing's thesis, Turing's theorem, TT. Okay. So here is the image. Okay, so let's see this guy. So he's got glasses on, so obviously smart. Working on something. He's a human computer that we can trust. He's calculating, making effective calculations. Okay. On the other hand, this is Turing's thesis. So on the other hand, we've got the Turing machine. The Turing machine has these little squares. Really just one symbol. The zeros are really blank. You can move right or left, and you can finite number of states, finite number of symbols. Okay. So what Turing's thesis are that these are the same. That this idealized human computer, the Turing machine, they have the same power. Okay. Also, for this picture, I was thinking of Margaret Hamilton. That's that note over there. That's who I was thinking maybe Margaret Hamilton was the inspiration for like a computer, but that's like much later in history. So, but I was thinking that picture when she's like next to all these books, like that's what I'm thinking about. That's our coder. That's our computer, human computer. Okay, and the Turing machine. Okay, is it frustrating to I think it's frustrating sometimes when they're keep saying things and without giving definition of Turing machine. But in this case, I do think it's nice to kind of ease into it, because when you see it, it's like, oh, I see. I could just give it right now. It's like a function, but okay. So from a pair to a triple or something. Okay. So anyway, so this is Turing's thesis: is that a function effectively calculable by a human being, if and only if it's computable by a Turing machine, as he's defined it. So Turing said about Turing on Turing machines, and Turing's thesis is that its status is something between a theorem and a definition. Yes. Okay. I think I give the actual theorem. I do. So so Klein in 1952 called it Turing's thesis, TT. Turing's thesis, aka Turing's thesis. Hello. Okay, so hello. So theorem. Turing's theorem or Turing's thesis. You can call it either, and we can abbreviate with TT, and I really like when Soare says there's no ambiguity in content, only in name. So if we say TT, it's the same content, it's just whether you call it Turing's thesis or Turing's theorem. Okay. And we'll see why there's a little bit of here, I'll let you look at it, there's a little bit of I put blue there, so that means it's a theorem. So we can look at the definition here. So I was going to say, it's definitely different than a theorem in mathematics. A function is effectively calculable by a human being, if and only if it can be computed by a Turing machine. A function is effectively calculable by a human being, if and only if it can be computed by a Turing machine. Okay, I mean, it's got the word human being in it. It's part of the definition or the theorem. That's definitely different from mathematical theorems. I could see a large cardinal theorem or something having something to do with a human being. I could see that being possible. Okay, maybe there is one, I don't know. But okay, so we could see that this is something different, a little different, not a little, a lot, I'd say a lot, but okay, I don't mean to get the right adjective or whatever, it's definitely something different. I don't want to qualify this, anyway. So it's definitely something different, it's got the word human being in it. Okay. So let's get to it. What are Turing machines? Alright, okay. Okay, so the definition of a Turing machine, I'm just going to go through this. We'll see, so again, it's this huge buildup, but when you see what it really is, once you know what it is and then I tell you the definition, then it's very clear. Oops. Okay, so a Turing machine, M, includes a two-way infinite tape, I'll just highlight all these words, divided into cells. It has a reading head, which scans one cell of tape at a time, and a finite set of internal states. These are our states, Q0, Q1, up to Qn, n greater than or equal to 1. Each cell is either blank or has written on it the symbol 1. In a single step, the machine may simultaneously change from one state to another, change scan symbol S to some S in this set. Just think it's funny. There's just two options there, one or blank. And move the head one cell to the left or to the right. Okay. So mathematically, now we're feeling a little more comfortable. Mathematically, it's a partial map. Okay, we could see this. It's a map that takes the current state in the symbol to a new state, perhaps a new symbol, and then a movement. Okay, so it's a function. We'll say it's a partial map. Okay. Because of that girdle discussion, we can say it's a partial map. Okay, so just this is the set right or left. It can go. We're gonna definitely see some real examples. Okay, so the idea is that this is delta. If let's say if Q, S, Q prime, S prime, X are in delta, then this is saying you're in state Q, reading symbol S. There I am. I'm in state of mind Q. I'm reading S. Then I will, because of this, if this is in delta, then I will change to state Q prime, let's say. I will write S prime and then I'll do X. So maybe I'll go left or right depending on what X is. So, can you see what this color bar is? That color bar in a way? I don't think so. Okay. If Q, S, Q prime, S prime is in delta, then M in state Q reading S replaces S with S prime and moves X and moves to the X one square. Moves to the right or moves to the left. The map delta is a Turing program. The whole setup is a machine. The machine refers to the program as to what to do next. The input X is represented by a string of X plus 1 ones with all the other cells blank. So if my input, let's say this is the first place where a non-blank cell happens, is right here. So let's say I want to input 3, then I'd put 4 things on the tape in a row. So let's just see, this is the idea. Okay, so this is, this would be input equals 2. There's different ways to organize this, but they're all equivalent. So here's our movable head. And it's in a certain state of mind, Q. And it's reading a certain symbol. And this delta is a finite Turing program. Q is the current state. Okay, the input's 2. Okay. Begin with M in the starting state, Q1, at the leftmost cell containing a 1. Okay, there's different ways to organize it. You could just have the beginning of a tape. But so let's say this is the starting cell. And that's how we start. That's what the machine is. When the machine begins operation, it's in this state. So the humans may be at the top of the paper reading the first word, first letter. Okay. And I'm in the state of, I'm going to read this. Okay, if M ever reaches a halting state Q not, okay, so I guess these are some definitions, this is the definition. If M ever reaches halting state Q not after S steps, we say that M halts. Okay, so if this situation occurs, that Q naught is somehow reached. Okay, it's like Q1 is the first state, Q2 is the next state, and so on. They're just different states, and then Q naught is the halting stage. And then the output of these, so you're going to just write some symbols. Don't have many options for symbols, just a one or nothing. The output is the total number of ones on the tape. Okay. So that's the definition of output. Still, like, so far we still haven't said, like, what's a computable function. This is the machine, this is the setup of the machine. What's input, what's output, what's the machine look like at the beginning, what's the machine look like when it's in a halting state. Okay. We can assume that M makes no further moves after reaching the halting state Q naught. I.e., the domain of delta does not contain elements of this form. Okay, so there's no delta doesn't have this like instruction. What do you do if you're in the halting state and you read this? Then you're going to go into, you're going to write Q squiggle and S squiggle, and you're going to go to the right. This does not happen. Oh, that's so weird. Suddenly all my colors were gone. That's not going to happen. That instruction's not going to be in there. Be a little confusing if that instruction was in there. Okay. Okay, we say that, here it is. We say that M computes the partial function phi, provided that phi of x equals y. So we say that we say M computes the partial function phi provided that phi of x equals y, if and only if M with input x eventually halts and yields with output y. So the machine, we've got our program, input, let's say it's, I don't know, let's say phi is, I don't know, we're going to do this one later, x plus 3. So this machine's all set up, got the program. What is that program? We'll see. The input is 5. So on the tape there's 6 ones in a row. Machine starts, refers to the program, eventually gets into halting state. We look at the tape, and it's now got 7 ones on it. What did I say was the input? 5? Yeah, okay. The input's 5. So the input's 5, so there's 6 ones on the tape. When we're done, there'll be 8 ones on the tape. The output will be 8. Okay. The input will be 6 ones on the tape. We'll do our business. End up in the halting state. When I'm in the halting state, there are 8 ones on the tape. Okay, we're going to actually see that. Okay, here's our example. Okay, so the program's already written. Okay, so but let's just see. Okay, so example, the following machine computes the function f of x equals x plus 3. Okay, this is the source example. Okay, so let's just see what's going on here. Another way to write this, it may be slightly more clear, is you can write it like this. You can say Q1, we'll just go through. Q1, 1, response, Q1, 1, R. Okay. So we're in stage, I can point up here maybe, we're in stage Q1, we're in state of mind Q1, we're reading a symbol 1, this is for if I had input of 2, okay, so what's my response? I'm in state Q1, I'm reading a 1, what's my response? My response is that I'm going to stay in state Q1, I'm going to move 1 to the right, and I'm going to keep the symbol 1 there. So maybe you can think, okay, he's here now. Now he's reading a 1, he's just going to keep repeating this loop, right? Okay, I'm staying in state 1, I'm reading a 1. Okay, so he's going to keep traveling down state Q1 as long as he sees a 1. Just keep the 1s. Now what happens when Q1 hits a B? Right here. Q1's traveling along, seeing 1s, keeps going, sees a blink. Okay, when it hits a blink, it's going to go into a state Q2, it's going to write a 1, and it's going to go to the right. Okay, so right here, it's in state Q1, it sees a blank, that automatically spins it into state so what I said earlier, so earlier I said if it was in state Q1, this should just be Q1, because it was just still in state Q1, it's reading the 1, keep going. So now it's in Q1 state, sees a blank, what happens? It goes into state, let's say it's at the end of the 1s, okay, so it goes into state Q2, keeps the 1, and goes to the right, so that's where we are right here. Going along, you see a blank, you go into state Q2, you write a 1, and then you go to the right. Okay, so Q2 is going to be writing the 1s, and I'm sorry if I was messing this up. Okay, so Q2 is going to write the 1s. Okay, so I'm in state Q1, I'm going along, I see a 1, I see a 1, I see a 1. I get to a blank space in state Q1. I'm like, okay, blank space. I'll go into state Q2. I'll write a 1. And go to the right. Okay. So then, what happens when Q2 sees a blank? Okay. So Q2 sees a blank. We're going to go through this actually more carefully later. Okay, so Q1, 1, 1. Let's just say this. Let's actually do this example with input 2. Okay, so this is the original input. We just had 3 things on the tape. Everything else was blank. Okay, I'm in state. I'll just use the eraser. Okay, so I'm in state Q1 here. I read a 1. So now I'm going to go to the right. I'm in state Q1, reading a 1. Okay, keep going. Okay, I'm in Q1, reading a 1. Keep going to the right and keep the 1. Okay, I'm in state Q1 and I'm reading a blank now. So what do? I go into state Q2. I write a 1. And I go to the right. Here we go. I'm like, where's the extra 1? Sorry. Okay. Okay. So then Q2 sees a blank. This is where we are right now. Q2 just saw a blank. Okay, Q2's like, what's going on? Q2 sees a blank. What's Q2 going to do? It's going to write a 1. going to go into the halt state, and it's going to, we could just say go to the right. Okay, so Q2 is now right here. It's going to go into the halt state, and it's going to write a 1. Okay, and then we're going to stop. Now we had an input of 2, which was 3 ones. Our output is 5. Okay. So this is the program. Okay, so I guess it's like, I never wrote what's Q2 going to do. When it sees a 1, but it's not going to see a 1. Okay, but you could write that as part of the program if you want. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do this together. Okay, so we got that. So it sort of like went into another state to write the extra 1, and then wrote the extra one, another 1 with the halt state. Okay. The instantaneous condition of M during each step in a Turing calculation is completely determined by the current state of the machine, the symbol S1 being scanned, okay, and the symbol on the tape to the right of S1 up to the last one, and the symbols to the left of S1 up to the first one. So it's just like everything that's on the tape, and including the configuration, and including the state of mind of the machine. State of the mind of the machine, what's written on the tape in front of the machine, what else is written on the tape. Okay. And these are the symbols. Okay, so this is the configuration. I think it's also, I feel like I've just called this snapshot, but I don't know if that's like slightly different. But it's really the same idea here. The configuration of the machine at that step. I think snapshot's a good word. Okay, so here's the configuration. So you've got, this is the current state of mind, and this is the current symbol. Symbol being scanned on the machine, and then everything else, all this stuff, and the T's and stuff like that, that's all just what's written on the rest of the tape. Okay, so let's go through these stages of, here's our machine. This is our program here. Okay, and it's going to go through these configurations. So I'd like to just look at the picture first and then kind of code the picture. That's what I'm thinking about. So like just thinking about what the machine looks like at each stage. Okay, so like here, okay, the machine starts in state Q1, reading 1. So the way that we'd write that code is like this. So we'd say Q1 for the configuration, a 1 is on the machine, and then there's nothing to the left or right, it's all blank, so that's it. Okay, then we can go, what happens next? Okay, so now this is input 0. Okay, so there's only one on the tape. Okay, so now it's here. Q1. It's in state Q1. It's reading a blank. There's still a 1 on the other tape, and there's still a 1 there, and there's nothing else. Okay, so this is so we'll write this as, okay, it's still in state Q1, it's reading a blank, and there's a 1 to the left of that spot. Okay, so we've got this. Okay, here, then just think about what happens next. It's in Q1 reading a blank, which means it goes into state Q2, it writes a 1, and then goes into state Q2 and goes to the right. So that's this stage here. And so we'd write that as, okay, so you write the state of mind, and then you write what's it reading just to the right there. And then what's before it? 1, 1. Okay, and then we've got, then what happens next? So it's in state Q2. When Q2 reads a blank, it writes a 1 and goes into the halting state. So this one here. So the state of mind is Q0. It's reading a 1, and it's got a 1, and a 1, and a 1 and a 1 before it. Oh, I guess since it went to the right. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So I guess since it went to the right. So let me fix this here. So after Q2 reads a blank, it goes to the right, goes into stage Q, halting stage, and then I had written a 1 on there, so that's slightly different. Let me just fix that. So it's Q state Q naught, it's reading a blank, and it's got the 1, and the 1 there. Okay. And then we can read the output too, that the output is 3, input 0, output 3. Okay, and then we can see we've computed this function. Okay, I think also just the picture itself is like a good snapshot if you do it correctly. Okay, and let's just, so the input is coded by input X is coded by X plus 1 consecutive ones on the tape. Output Y is just the total number, coded by the total number of ones on the tape. Okay, stalling. So suppose M enters state Q, but this is a partial function, so maybe it's not defined there at Q, S. So I'm in state Q, I'm reading symbol S. Let me refer to my program. Program's like, sorry, I have don't have any info on that one, no suggestions of what to do. So then the machine stalls. It makes no further moves and it gives no output. But we wouldn't say this is a halting. That this is referring to halting when this happens. This is stalling. It has to actually enter the halting stage, Q naught, to be halting. So just a definition of a Turing computation, what we just talked about. According to the Turing program P with input X, a sequence of configurations C0, C1 up to Cn. According to a Turing computation according to Turing program P with input X is a sequence of configurations C0, C1 up to Cn, such that C0 represents the machine in starting state Q1 reading leftmost symbol of the input X. Cn represents the machine in the halting state Q naught. And the transition from Ci to Ci plus 1 for all I less than n is given by the Turing program P. We'll refer to P. What do I do when the input is this symbol in this state of mind? The program will tell us what to do. Thus, from now on, a computation will refer to a halting calculation or convergent calculation. Okay, this is, again, just being more careful about what the actual configuration looks like. Oh, I'm sorry. This is going further. I'm sorry. This is about if you have n variables, how do you represent the input? You just put a sequence of ones and then put a blank and then put a sequence of ones and a blank for multiple inputs. Okay, so the initial configuration of n, if you have multiple inputs, or you have a function of more than one variable, then the configuration is like this. Q1 is the initial state of mind. The alpha one is the that gets the first input sequence of ones, alpha I, is xi plus 1 consecutive ones. Okay, because our input was x1, x2, I think up to xn was what the idea was. It's right there. It's right there. Hello. Okay, xn. Okay. It's just, so the input, so alpha I is xi plus 1 consecutive ones, the b's are blank, q1's the initial state. So for 2, 0, 1, we can add a state of mind here, would be 3 ones, 1, 1, 1, and then 2 ones for the input 2, 0, 1. Just cementing this idea. So given n inputs, x1 to xn, we represent these as an input to a Turing machine by writing each as a block of xk plus 1 ones and separating each block by a blank. Okay, so let's do an example of computation. I guess maybe we should do an example of writing a program, but I'll do that for homework, and then we'll talk about it next time. This is just to do an example of, let's just write the computation. Let's write the configurations at each stage. Okay. Okay, so let's see if I can do this without. Okay, so our input is 2. This is like what we were looking at before. Our input is 2. I want to write the configurations until we get to the end of the computation, and the output is, so our output should be a 5. Okay, so we start in stage Q1. It's reading a 1, and there's 2 more ones to the right of that, and then blank. And then, should I get our program? Our program's right here. I believe I can move it too. I see my students like moving things around their notes. I'm like, I want to do that, so I do. Okay, let's make a little program right here. We'll keep that guy in mind. Okay, so, okay, Q1. Now there's a 1 to the left. It's still in state Q1, and there's 2 ones to the right. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so I like to draw the picture first next to it and see what we're doing. Okay, so and the good thing is it's not all abstract. We have this actual example. We have the input of 2. Okay, so it's gonna, if you're in stage Q1 and you're reading a 1, you're just gonna write a 1 and go to the right. So I was in this state, I wrote a 1 and I go to the right. Okay, so I'm in state Q1, I see a 1 before me, I see blanks to the right, 1s to the left, blanks to the right, and so there we are. Okay, now what's going to happen next? Okay, I'm in state Q1, I'm supposed to go to the right if I see a 1. Okay, so now I'm Q1, I see a blank. So Q1, I see a blank. I've got 3 ones before me. Okay, let me just. Okay. Okay, now I'm just wondering whether I should put a 1 here or not right now, but I don't think so. Okay, so I'm in stage Q1. I read a 1. I kept the 1 and I went to the right. Okay, and that's what this is right here. This is the configuration. Okay, so now what happens next? When you're Q1 and you see a blank, you go into stage. I always just get worried. Where's these extra ones going to come from? Okay. So now I'm Q1, I see a blank, so I'm going to write a 1. I'm going to go into state Q2, and I'm going to go to the right. Okay. So I'm in state Q2. I see a blank before, blanks to the right, 1s to the left. Okay, and now, what's next? Okay, so now Q2 sees a blank. It's gonna write a 1 and go into Q0. Okay, so Q0, blanks to the right, 1s to the left. Okay, and now we've got our output. Okay, that's it. So that's writing the configuration. Okay, so yeah, obviously we need to practice like writing the programs themselves. Okay, so this is homework. Okay, we'll go through it. So write a program. So write Turing machines, or write the program that the machine's going to refer to for f of x equals 0. So let's say try it with input equals 0, try input equals 1, maybe to get started, and then just in general, what would you do? Again, here, try these with input, these little inputs. And then for this one, we're going to have f of x, y. Your input might be like 1, 2, oops, let's give ourselves some squares here. Might be like 1 plus 1. So the input would be like this, right? Like that. So with this input, can you give an output of 2? Okay. So we'll do that next time. I'd like to end just by reading some of Post and Turing's paper. I'm not going to do the dramatics today, but if E.C. Slater comes back, she might like to give us a little show. Okay, so let's read about, this is, let's do Turing first. Okay, so Turing's, we read last time, computable numbers, okay. In section 9.10, I give some arguments with the intention of showing that the computable numbers include all numbers which could naturally be regarded as computable. In particular, I show that certain large classes of numbers are computable. They include, for instance, the real parts of all algebraic numbers, the real parts of zeros of the Bessel function, the numbers pi, e, etc. The computable numbers do not, however, include all definable numbers, and an example is given of a definable number which is not computable. Thank you, Turing. Okay, this is Post. We shall not here reproduce, I can't help it. We shall not here reproduce the formal definition of recursive function of positive integers. A simple example of such a function is an arbitrary polynomial, p of x1 up to xn, with, say, non-negative integral coefficients and not identically 0. If the x's are assigned arbitrary positive integral values, expressed, for example, in the Arabic notation, the algorithms for addition and multiplication in that notation enable us to calculate the corresponding positive integral value of the polynomial. That is, p of x1, x2 up to xn is an effectively calculable function of positive integers. The importance of the technical concept recursive function derives from the overwhelming evidence that it is coextensive with the intuitive concept of effectively calculable function. I am sorry, Post. I butchered that. I don't know. I have a hard time understanding. I mean, I have a hard time with the sentence structure. Okay, thank you, Post. Well, oh no, it's leading up there. Okay, that's okay. Hopefully you saw that. The post reading. Well, that's all for today. Well, that's all for today. We'll see you next time on Computability Freaks.